First, Kelly Crighton explains why it's getting crowded in Canada's vacation land.
If you're looking to buy cottage country these days, you'll find lots of competition. More and more Americans, dismayed by their own crowded, polluted, and very expensive resort areas, are crossing the border in search of a piece of Canada to call their own. The big target areas are the Maritimes, BC, and Ontario. The coastal provinces are coming to terms with the issue. BC now has legislation forbidding the sale of Crown land to foreigners. And in Cape Breton, the federal government is considering extending its national park, which could reclaim much of the shoreline now owned by Americans. But in the province of Ontario, opportunities to buy abound. As the information sheet provided by one land sale agency helpfully points out, U.S. citizens may buy, hold, and sell real estate in Canada under the same terms and conditions as a Canadian. Magazines like Outdoor Life are full of ads explaining how huge tracts of Canadian land can be purchased by Americans for as low as $6 an acre when the land is seized for taxes. In northwestern Ontario, one of our last remaining wilderness areas, this kind of purchase is becoming common. Example, a Duluth lawyer has assembled about 7,000 acres of beautiful property along the shoreline of Lake Superior for virtually a song. Now the government needs 1,000 acres to build a bridge for tourists, and the lawyer is asking $1.5 million. Although the conservative government of John Robarts has not appeared anxious to move on this, a Tory backbencher from Kenora, Leo Bernier, has introduced a private member's bill calling for a 90-day moratorium on tax sales to give the Crown the opportunity to purchase first. But even this, Mr. Bernier admits, is only a modest beginning.
In the Sioux Narrows area, we definitely see the Americans moving in. I shouldn't say just Americans, I suppose, because there are other non-Canadians moving in and buying up a lot of our recreational land. And I think the time has come to take a real serious look at it. On this particular the road that we're on right here in the Sioux Narrows area, 8 out of 10 commercial camps are American-owned. In one of the smaller townships near the Kenora area, 90% of the lakeshore property is non-Canadian. And I think that this is a shocking thing. But I would point out that many of our Canadian operators are selling out to American operators because they seem to have the finances to buy up this property. I think Canadians themselves have to take a real look and assess the value of land that they have. I don't want northern Western Ontario to become southern Ontario, where you can't go anywhere, you can't use your skidoo, you're on private property, and you can't go hunting because this is private property. I think that there's all kinds of room for all of us in northwestern Ontario, and this is a step we should be moving in.
Southern Ontario has a whole different set of problems. The Muskoka Resort District is only a few hours' drive from Toronto and a number of big American cities. Americans have held cottages here for years. Land is so expensive that there are no tax sales. Instead, the question is, should Americans, or Canadians for that matter, be allowed to hold large reserves of land which they purchased many years ago for very little money? Case in point, Deer and Pigeon Lake, 2 beautiful properties owned since 1920 by 14 members, mostly American, of the Beaumaris Fishing Club.
A lot of the islands on Muskoka have been owned by Americans for years. Joining these lakes, there's 2 private lakes, of which they own the land all around. And in my opinion, I don't think these beautiful waters should be cut off from the public. Now, these people own them and they fish in them when they feel like it. You can go on the lake if you land by plane, but you can't cross their land, and they own all the land around it. So I don't think this is fair to people that some of the smaller lakes are overcrowded. Not this lake's not overcrowded, but some of the nearby lakes are overcrowded. And here are 2 beautiful lakes that no one's allowed to buy a thing on.
What sort of buildup are on those lakes right now?
Nothing. One custodian's home, that's all.
They have a custodian on the lake?
Oh, yes. They patrol the boat, or at least they patrol the lake by boat in the summertime daily. And he has one little electric motor that he runs. They allow not even the Americans, use an outboard. And why that is, I don't know, but whether they feel their fish are purer than most.
What would you say, I guess you know sort of what land is worth around here. What would you say that land's worth
Well,
now?
land around here right now is selling for a good good land, real good sandy beach land is selling for $100 a foot, which is too damn high. But this is what they ask for. At a hunk of rock, they'll ask you for a 150-foot hunk of rock, they'll ask you $4,500, which again is too high. But how come it's so high? Because it's so scarce. But how come they have these, allowed to own these private lakes? They could be opened up and maybe make it more livable for the working class.
Iron City is the private playground of U.S. Steel Corporation executives and families. It's been around since 1900 and occupies some of the best shoreline in Georgian Bay. One caretaker on the property told me, "They're all millionaires here and they like you to know it." Membership is closed to Canadians, but Iron City's manager kindly took us on a little tour.
We have 200 acres, I think.
And that nice sandy beach.
The only one in this area. We have a putting green, too, over just in the bend of the bay.
Where do the members come from?
Pittsburgh.
From Pittsburgh.
Originally, this was all Pittsburgh people. Now, the second and third generations have spread out. So they're all over the state.
So is membership's just open to the families then? Here?
Yes.
You can't buy into it?
No.
But probably the most startling example is Longford Reserve Limited. Here, a small group of Americans and Canadians own an entire Ontario township, 40,000 acres of some of the best hunting and fishing land in the Muskoka district. When I asked a local real estate agent to put a price on the property, he laughed. Access to Longford is by a single, strictly private road. But since the air and water are public property, we flew over for a look at forbidden territory.
This lake we are at now is called Boot Lake. There are two properties that have, or two people have properties on this lake here. First one on our left. And the only other one on this lake is down the far end. This lake out here is Brown's Lake. This is where the headquarters for the reserve is. And most of your property owners have their cottages on this lake.
Bert Harbridge is the Canadian custodian of Longford, and all in favor of keeping it private, no matter what. He's definitely not in favor of trespassers, especially reporters. Do you have many trespassers on the property?
Yes, lots of them.
What do you do with them?
Shoot them.
Yeah, we better get out before we're shot.
No, seriously now, what do you do when people trespass?
Oh, well, if they get nasty, that's when the trouble starts. Then they charge against them.
Yeah. What do they come here for when they are trespassing?
What'd you come for?
Well, we come because we're nosy reporters. What do they come for?
Oh, I guess just nosy.
Yeah. Well, no, I do a lot of camping up around here. Supposing I came up one time and wanted to come and camp on the property somewhere, would I be allowed to?
No.
Why not?
Well, because private property. The signs up says no trespassing. Every now and again, there's a write-up in the paper they shouldn't own it, and on news here on television last winter they were going to take it away from them, and I don't know what all, but they did some checking into it and found out that they had a clear deed of it, and I don't know how you can take property from somebody that has a clear deed.
Who's trying to take it away?
Well, a lot of jealous-minded people when the property was going to go back to Crown lands and wasn't worth anything. And they said there must be something wrong with their head if darn fools would ever buy a chunk of property like that. But wait till 40, 50 years rolls around and the light looks a little different. Now then everybody says they shouldn't own it, they ought to be taken away. So that's the way it is.
How many people belong to the club now?
Oh, approximately 25. You're getting your interview gradually.
Where do they come from?
Anywhere from Texas, San Antonio, mostly Cleveland, St. Catharines, Galt, and Minden.
So there are some Canadians who belong to the club.
Oh, yeah.
I'd like to join.
Yeah, what's the cost of joining?
You're getting your interview.
Do you know what it costs to join?
Well, I think about $1,200, and a lot of people said, oh, they'd like to join. Well, that's all you had to have was $1,200. But You got to have a heck of a lot more than that. And if you're going to be a good member, you got to have a share of stock. And if you know where you can buy a share of stock under $10,000, you're lucky.
Do you think eventually it will go back to Crown property?
No.
Why not?
Why not? Well, these people, they like it too well.
I think it's a speculation on some of our southern friends. Like I said earlier, they realize the potential and the value of land in Canada. And it's a good thing to have a piece of Canada. I think they want to pass it on maybe to their children. And here it is, we have foreign absentee ownership, and this is something I object to.
Critics of land sales to foreigners are nevertheless strongly in favor of allowing Americans to lease vacation spots. But in spite of their concern, it doesn't look like the Ontario government is going to act. Lands and Forest Minister Rainey Brunel was asked about the recent purchase of 13 miles of shorefront on Lake Superior by a U.S. company. His reply, "We treat Americans the same as we do any other resident."
We'll be back in a moment with Ken LaFoley.